One of the people who frequently watch our show is Barry Crompton. As a matter of fact, we have a members-only book group. He was invited to participate in that. Um, Also on, I got to talk for the people who are coming on. It's exact opposite is Laurie, and he's from right now in Melbourne. So we have both ends of Australia covered. Barry, I want to welcome him, and please tell you who you are, what your group is, etc. You're on.
Thank you, Rich, and thank you, Henry, for the invitation. I really appreciate it. Just as a bit of a background, Australia was discovered by the English Captain Cook in 1770. And shortly after that, 1788, they had the first colonists who arrived from England. And as I said to one of the round tables in America, the reason that they did that is Georgia wouldn't take any more convicts during the War of Independence, so they decided to send out the convicts to Australia. 1901, we became a country, a Commonwealth, but until that, each of the states had their own separate jurisdictions. The American Civil War, of course, was the biggest event in American history, and as a result of the 1849 gold rush in California, in the early 1850s, they found gold in Australia, in outside Melbourne and outside Sydney. As a result of that, our populations grew incredibly much. 1850s, Melbourne had the biggest population in the Southern Hemisphere. At the time of the Civil War, we had a visit by the Confederate ship Shenandoah, and it left Melbourne in February 1865 with an additional 42 crew members recruited in Australia, in Melbourne. Our Civil War Roundtable began in 1972, so we've been going 51 years now. And the result of that was that we had a reenactment group in Australia prior to that. We also had a visit by Ralph Newman and the NASA people in 1969, and they showed some of the Lincoln exhibits in the shopping centres around Australia. 1972, I was the founding secretary of our Civil War Roundtable, and we've gone through numbers over the years. There is an additional roundtable centred in Sydney and one in Brisbane, Queensland. We have been averaging 20 to 30 people per meeting on a monthly basis, 11 months every year. In the 1980s, we found out that there were Civil War veterans who came to Australia. So we've been extremely busy over the last 30 odd years delving into the history of why the Civil War veterans came to Australia, why the visit of the Shenandoah came to Melbourne, why a few Australians actually participated in the Civil War. There were people living in New York, Massachusetts, and also Pennsylvania who were Australian born who served in Civil War regiments. 1977, I had my first trip to America, toured the battlefields for 13 weeks, met up with a lot of the roundtable people. Have returned to the US 6 times after that. And in 2015, the Civil War Roundtable of Australia was able to have an exhibition locally for the 150th anniversary of the Shenandoah's visit to Melbourne. We're very fortunate that we have had a very enthusiastic audience. We occasionally have had symposiums in Australia where we've been able to invite people to come from America to talk to us. Of course, it's very expensive to do that, but 2013 we had a visit from Ed Bars, which was absolutely wonderful because he was here during World War II after he'd been wounded. After that, of course, the COVID hit Australia like everywhere else, and we decided about 2020 that we would begin to have Zoom meetings. So now that we have the ability to meet with our American friends or so, it is a delight to be able to talk internationally. Most of our members are Australian born. We have a couple from England born and a couple from America. result of Australian war brides who went over to America after World War II and then returned with their families. My own family came from Manchester, England in 1863 as a result of the cotton famine. No longer any work in Manchester, England or so, and they came to Australia. So although I didn't realise it, I was able to link my own interest in the Civil War. I have a large library due to the fact that back in the 1980s, when we were doing our work on the research for veterans in Australia, we had to have our own books, of course, and traveling over to America, I've also been able to pick up quite a few volumes from the bookshops. Until 2007, we had the availability of surface mail postage to Australia, so it was reasonably easy to buy books and get them shipped over to Australia. However, after 2007, it became extremely expensive to ship them airmail, and now a lot of the books that I buy are outside of Amazon and other locations where I can get them electronically. So we have a meeting every month, other than in December. We've got a Christmas party turning up shortly, and I look forward to further and more information from our links with the Civil War, and particularly with the North Jersey Civil War Roundtable. Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, you had Ed Bars was one of the classic people in, and we had him. Ed Bars, I think, he made it a point to see other roundtables. Great writer, great describer of battles, and at our annual dinner a number of years ago, he was our speaker. That was at the Basking Ridge Country Club that we had him. It was a great honor for us to have him. Actually, it's spoken before, a group once before, but this was the dinner. This was the dinner itself. So you really got a prize. You really have a prize with Ed Bars as your speaker.
Fascinating, man. Fortunately, I was able to attend some of the Civil War Roundtable congresses organized by Jerry Russell of Civil War Roundtable Associates, and I went to Vicksburg, and of course Ed was there tramping over the battlefields, rain, hail and snow, but Ed was there, and of course he was a mainstay, and we really look up to the people like Ed.
Yeah, he got injured in the battle. What was it, New Providence, where he had his arm was wounded, and through that. I can't think of what it was. New something. I can't think of where it was, but that's where his injury came from. Good evening, John Harper is on. John, we've been speaking to got two members, or to everybody else. I'll tell you, we have two people. Laurie from he's speaking from Perth, Australia.
Yes.
Barry Crompton is from is the one that he attended our book group.
Yes,
so
he did.
So we now have two people from Australia on.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, that's a great program. So he's just describing obviously interest, why Australia with the roundtables there. Very interesting talk. Barry, I'm going to put you on the spot one more time. Ready?
Yes.
Sounds a little tactical. Would you accept an honorable what do they call it? An honorable membership on our group and become an honorary member?
I would be absolutely delighted to. And if I ever get back to America, the first place I'll go to is New Jersey.
That's wonderful.
Sure.
You want to know someone will take you up on it? No, why not? I think it's great. No, seriously. In any event, so we now want to have a member from Australia. I'm really proud that you're. I'm really proud that you're part of us.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.